What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, to be honest with you guys, I've been saying this for a little while. I don't think a lot of people agree with me, but it's okay. Again, it's just my personal opinion. But when it comes to Microsoft potentially taking over Activision and obviously having all control over Call of Duty, a lot of people have hope, faith within Microsoft that they'll fix the games. And yeah, maybe in a little bit when I heard the news and information, I felt that way. But, over time, the more I think about it, the more I believe that they're just not capable of, doing such a thing. And not saying they don't have the resources, not saying they don't have the money, obviously, but watching them absolutely fumble with some of my favorite franchises, like Gears of War, for example. I mean, my goodness, the multiplayer for that game has fell off tremendously. It might still get a lot of sales. It might still be partially popular when it releases and stuff of that sort, but back in the OG Gears 2, Gears 3 days, even Gears 1 if you want to go that far, that game was so iconic. It was so fire. Gears 4 was still good, but Gears 5 was a major letdown. And it just shows over time that Microsoft doesn't know how to handle the majority of their games. Same thing with Halo. I mean, look at where Halo is at this moment. A game that is basically one of the most iconic franchises when it comes to FPS history is completely down bad. It's really sad to see. And again, I think we're putting a little too much faith into Microsoft. And with this new information that just came out, I think it even further confirms how I feel towards them. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, I do want to mention that we are grinding out for 50,000 subscribers on this channel, and we are really pushing. We're tugging right now, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have been putting in that work. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And if you do enjoy the commentary and you want to hear more content revolving around Call of Duty, X-Defiant, Battlefield, other FPS games out there, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification button. And last but not least, we won't be streaming today, but we will be back live on Monday over on Kick. So if you guys do want to be watching some of my live streams, if you want a little extra content on the side, I have links to all of my stuff down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know too much about the game Redfall, but trust me, even though I didn't really follow it that much, I think everybody heard about the horrible launch of that game and how devastating it truly was. Now, some information came out behind the scenes on why that game turned out the way it did, and it is absolutely shocking. I'm going to save you guys some time. I'm not going to, ramble on too much besides the most crucial points that, kind of relate it back to why I don't think Microsoft is going to do too well if they own, Call of Duty. But the overall story is that the developers behind Redfall, they were forced to make a game that wasn't, what they typically make. So it's completely out of their realm. It's not something they enjoy doing. So the whole development cycle was just an absolute disaster. Everybody wasn't happy. A lot of people left. It was just absolutely on fire, along with, the actual concept of the game changing. Think of Battlefield 2042. For any FPS gamers out there who don't know what this game is, think of Battlefield 2042, how that game was tossed and turned throughout its whole life cycle. And, it wasn't as bad as Redfall with how the developers didn't want anything to do with the game. But, kind of that's how I can compare it the best. But later on, Microsoft basically bought out the rights to, Redfall and all of the development within that game. And the developers behind the scenes of Redfall were really hoping that Microsoft would change everything up, either completely cancel off the game, they don't want this game going out, they don't like it, or just, completely changing everything around, pushing back the date and just allowing them to make it into something that they want. They were really hoping that Microsoft would save the day because it was on fire. Nobody even wanted the game to release. They were, like I said, pretty much everybody was leaving the development team. So they were really banking on Microsoft saving the day. And what does Microsoft do? Absolutely nothing. They kept pushing with the game. They had a completely hands-off approach where they didn't want anything to do with it. They just wanted to purchase the rights to it and, hopefully profit off of it. And we all saw how the game completely launched. Ladies and gentlemen, to me personally, again, this is just simply proof that Microsoft, they aren't the savior that everybody thinks they are going to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to be the person to ruin all of your days. I definitely want this deal to go through, and I want it to be something good, for the Call of Duty franchise. I want Call of Duty to finally see some liveliness. But if we're being realistic here, like I said earlier in the video, some of the most popular IPs out there have been devastated. Call of Duty is still on top. All of these years later, it's insane because we're going through hell right now, right? As a community, we're going through hell, yet and still this game outsells everything every single year. But these other games like Halo, Gears of War, they might sell, but they die so quick. COD can still top off with some popularity, but Gears and Halo, they go in the tanks. It's so depressing. You know, I don't think that this merger's going to do anything special for Call of Duty. The most that might happen out of this is that all the OG games will go on Game Pass, which will repopulate them, and hopefully it'll mean less cheaters. Even though the cheaters are still going to be relevant in there, but having a bigger actual population of players playing these games would definitely help with finding more people. Because right now you hop on console, you might have 50 people on it at a time, and you can barely get into a lobby because over half of them aren't even, in your region. And then on top of that, maybe 10 out of those 50 are cheaters. So, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a cheater in your lobby. It sucks, but if you could have hundreds, even thousands of people, populating these games, having a good time, your experience, you could probably find something decent, especially if you lobby shop. So I can see Microsoft going ahead and doing that. That'll be nice. And potentially, who knows, maybe they'll put the new Call of Duty games on Game Pass, and that'll be a massive, massive, huge thing. That'll be good and all, but to expect Microsoft to come in and change the ways of COD and bring back our core 6v6 game, do everything that we want as a community, I think is a little unrealistic right now. Even though I want to be hopeful for it, I think it's better to keep the mindset that we're not going to get anything from it. Don't go in with high expectations, high hopes, because it's only going to crumble you when they don't come alive. That's how I look at everything when it comes to Call of Duty. Honestly, everything when it comes to FPS games. The only thing that has won me over so far is X-Defiant, because the gameplay, I was addicted to it for weeks. And on top of that, the communication from the developers is fantastic, outstanding. I enjoy it. But things like Battlefield, COD, I've been screwed over time and time and time and time and time again. At a certain point, you have to sit there and think, what? Should I really, fall into the hype? Should I really think things are going to turn good? No. Don't do it. If they turn out good, you're going to be 10 times happier, and it's much better to be happier, with low expectations than be let down with high expectations. I can tell you that much. It's so sad because, even though Sony has been acting funky recently, at the end of the day, when it comes to their titles, when it comes to their exclusives, they really do put in some effort. We have to all be honest here. They might act funky with absolutely everything out there, and it's really obnoxious, and it's hard to support them sometimes, but my goodness, when it comes to their exclusives and their games, they always put out bangers. Microsoft, on the other hand, come on now. We have to be real here. Yeah, they have some games that are put out, but it's not as consistent as, Sony or, a platform under Sony. It's just not as consistent. And the way they're handling all of our favorite IPs over there for Xbox is just insulting. I know I keep bringing it up, but seriously, Halo and Gears was a staple of the Xbox back in the day. It was literally a staple, not for just campaign, even though the campaigns were fantastic, but the multiplayers backed them up. They were actually worth your time. They were worth playing. People got Xboxes just to play those games, those franchises. Nowadays, people don't even look at it and, budge. It's not really a deciding factor if someone really wants an Xbox or not. And now with PC allowing you to have tons of the Xbox games, people are just opting onto PC instead. So at the end of the day, the point of this overall story is to just say, don't get overexcited or over hopeful when it comes to Microsoft potentially being able to purchase out Activision, getting Call of Duty and all their other games as well. Don't get overly hopeful. There might be some positives that come along with it, but to think that it's going to save the overall Call of Duty franchise, I don't think so. They have proven time and time and time again that when they purchase these things, all they want to do is just purchase some type of success and let it ride out. They don't want to do any work. They don't want to put any, effort in. They just want to get stuff that's going to, be on autopilot, which will bring in profits over time. That's all they want right now. And that's exactly what they want out of COD. COD is exactly what Microsoft wants. COD is a franchise that literally, even though as much as we complain, it top sells every year. They put in minimal effort every year. All they do is need to put in a good campaign, and that's it. They will make absolute bank. COD, in my personal opinion, when it comes to these businesses, they look at it like, a subscription service. It's not even like a franchise, a game, something that has to, that has to sell. If it doesn't make money, we're screwed on this product. No, they literally look at it as a subscription service, probably. They look at it and say, okay, we are guaranteed to get this much money, this much money, this much money, every so often. Because that's how good Call of Duty is when it comes to money making. And that's all Microsoft wants. They want to make more autopilot money. And, If they don't and they want to save it, then great. That's fantastic. I'll be so excited. But that's honestly where my expectations land on this overall topic. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, and by all means, if you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new and enjoy the content, subscribe and hit the notification button. Also, in chat me, there's two ways to do so: Twitter and Discord, both in the description. And also, want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch, with that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.